In this video, I'm going to show you when you'd receive dividends from a dividend-paying stock. Now, companies that do pay dividends typically pay dividends quarterly. However, it's possible that they could pay dividends annually, semi-annually, monthly, or on an irregular basis. And I'll give you an example of that in a moment. And of course, it's possible that a company might not pay any dividends at all. Now, here's an example of a company that does pay dividends, Colgate-Palmolive. And I want to show you how it works. So they do it quarterly. Okay, so they did it 4 times in 2023 that they declared and paid dividends. Okay, so we've got several dates going on here. And what I want to show you is when you would actually get the dividends if you were a shareholder of Colgate-Palmolive. Okay, so let's take the dividends that were declared on September 13th, 2023. So we're going to focus on this information right here. Okay, now you see that there's several dates there. So you might be wondering, okay, do I get the dividends when they're declared? Do I get them on this X date, which by the way stands for ex-dividend date? Or do I get them on the date of record? Or when they're actually payable? How does it all work out? So it's a little complicated, so I wrote out this timeline to try and help. So again, we're going to focus on this one right here. And you could see that the dividends are declared by Colgate-Palmolive's board of directors September 13th, 2023. Okay. Now, the ex-dividend date, that is the date that if you bought the share, so let's say you did not own Colgate-Palmolive and you bought them on October 20th, 2023, which happened to be a Friday, okay? This is the first day that the stock will start trading without the benefit of this dividend, okay? So if you buy the stock on Friday, October 20th, 2023, and you are not going to be entitled to this dividend that was declared on September 13th, 2023. So when people say, oh, a stock went ex-dividend, that's the date where if you buy the stock at that point, you're not going to be able to entitled to this dividend. Okay. Now, you see this record date? So shareholders who are shareholders of record as of that date, October 23rd, 2023, are going to be entitled to the dividend. Now, here's where it gets confusing. You might think, okay, well then, if I buy the shares on October 23rd, 2023, then when they're paid out on the payment date, I'll get a dividend. But that's not how it works, and that's why it's a little confusing, okay? So the record date is when the company goes and checks its records and say, okay, who is a shareholder of record, right? So basically, the business day before this day, which there's no trading on Saturday and Sunday, so the one business day before that is the ex-dividend date typically. And then one day before that, so this day right here, which is 2 business days before the record date. Okay, so this, I've got that written there, 2 business days before the record date. So in this case, Thursday, October 19th, 2023, you would have to own shares of Colgate-Palmolive at the close of trading on this date here, October 19th, 2023, to be able to get dividends when they're ultimately paid on the payment date, November 15th, 2023. I know that's confusing, but let me explain. Okay, so the reason you need to own the shares at the close of trading on October 19th, 2023, which is 2 business days before the record date, is because there's a thing called the settlement period. So if you buy the shares on Thursday, October 19, 2023, it takes 2 business days, okay, so the Friday and the Monday, for you to become a shareholder of record, okay? So so you can't just buy the shares on the record date and then be entitled to the dividends on the payment date, okay? So it's 2 business days before. So in this case, again, because there was a weekend, it looks like, oh, well, it's the 23rd to the 19th, that's several days. But it's 2 business days, right? Thursday, October 19th was 2 business days before Monday, October 23rd. And now, if you had bought the shares, let's say right here, October 18th, if you bought the shares and then sold the shares, you're not going to be entitled, even though they had declared the dividend back here, you're not going to be entitled to get the dividend when it's paid out here. November 15th, 2023 is when they actually pay the dividend to the shareholders, okay? So people who owned as of the close of markets on this date here, right? If you own the stock when the markets closed on that date, October 19, 2023, on November 15, 2023, you got a dividend payout. Okay. If you bought on October 18th and then sold and you didn't own at the close of markets on October 19th, if you bought here and sold immediately, whatever, you're not getting the dividend. If you bought at the ex-dividend date or late, so October 20th, October 21st, whatever, you wouldn't have been able to buy on the 21st. It was a Saturday, but October 20th, 23rd, 24th, once the stock goes ex-dividend, right, you buy it, you're not getting that dividend. Okay, so I want to do another example. And so that one was a little odd, so I chose it because there was a Saturday, Sunday, to get you the idea of like how it works with business days instead of actual days. Okay. Now, here's an example with an irregular dividend. Costco, so Costco pays a quarterly dividend, but every now and then, every several years, they also pay a special dividend. So you'll notice here, so they've got here the ex-dividend date, record date, payable date. Okay, they didn't have the date declaration and everything. So that's not here, but I looked up in a press release. $15 per share. So it was like $1.02 a share, $1.02 a share, $1.02, $1.02 for that year. But then all of a sudden, bam, out of nowhere, $15 a share. So this is the date where it went ex-dividend. So if you bought it on December 27th or thereafter, you were not going to get that dividend when it was paid on January 12th. So I wrote out the timeline again to try and make it easy to understand. So I actually looked up from their press release, the day they declared the dividends, the board was December 14th, 2023. Now, the record date, December 28th, which was the Thursday, okay? It's a Thursday. So 2 business days before Thursday is Tuesday, December 26th. So you needed to own the shares by the close of markets on Tuesday, December 26th. So like when the markets closed on that Tuesday, you had to own shares of Costco in your brokerage account. Otherwise, you're not going to get that dividend. Okay, so if you own shares when the markets closed on Tuesday, December 26th, then on January 12th, 2024, when they actually pay out the dividend, you were going to get $15 per share, right? So if you had 3 shares of Costco when markets closed Tuesday, December 26th, 2023, you would get $45 of dividends. Now, if you had bought on the ex-dividend date or later, you're not getting any dividends for the shares that are purchased when the stock goes ex-dividend. And again, if you had bought, let's say December, anytime here, right, and then sold before you have to be owning it. Markets closed Tuesday, December 26, 2023. You look in your brokerage account, you own shares of Costco. Guess what? You're going to be getting a dividend when it gets paid out on January 12, 2024. If you didn't own shares of Costco and markets closed Tuesday, December 26, 2023, you're not getting that special dividend.